So thank you for amazing introduction, and I'm very happy to join Spirit Mountain and be part of the faculty on this beautiful platform. Yes, thank you for this invitation. I was born in Poland, but I would call myself right now nomadic, citizen of the world. I'm traveling the world. I also live partially in Greece, partially in Poland, but my work is based on traveling, teaching around the world. Since, of course, last year, it's been a little bit more moving into the online teaching. My background started about 20 years ago, where I encountered a very difficult time in my life, where I was going through depression, a lot of pain in my body, stress, graduating from technical university, starting my first job in corporation, and exploring and experiencing what is the corporate world like. And this brought me to the state of exhaustion. And I started inquiring what is the meaning of my life, what is the meaning of what I want to do, because I started noticing that corporation is not direction that gives me fulfillment, passion, and joy. And I encountered a psychotherapist who was also a massage therapist. I was combining massage therapy with psychotherapy, and it blow my mind. It opened up so much in my body, in my feelings, emotions. And I start going this direction, receiving a lot of body work, and at some point studying body work. So I was in the beginning of my journey, one leg in the corporation, one leg already starting to do self-healing developmental programs around meditation, body work, breath work. And this took me to understanding that I have some gifts also, and understanding that I would love to build my life around practices that helped me and have tremendous potential to transform life of others, and share it with the world, share it what happened to me, how those practices transform my life, and how they can help other people who can be in a similar situation that I was 20 years ago. I totally agree with it. I totally agree. And I think there's also one other beautiful psychotherapeutical rule or understanding, that our clients, if we are in the therapy, our clients will not go farther than our therapist. So I find it very fascinating, because I noticed that the more we as healers or therapists or facilitators heal ourselves, the more we can have that empathy and understanding for other people. And we can kind of bring them on the journey with us without wanting to change anything. Because I think big part of healing is where we allow person with their own understanding, with their own capacity, and with their own possibilities to go to the places where they are ready to go, without pushing them, without wanting to change anything from them. Because the moment we want to change anything for others, they resist, because they might not be ready. So I think the art of healing is being and allowing things to unfold in the space of compassion, love, awareness. And that's where magic happens, where we just give our presence and provide the tools we know for others and let them go with those tools as far or as they're ready for. Otherwise, it's often too challenging, and I understand that allowance and being is the key. So I totally agree with your point. I think that most important here to understand is that we are Trinity. We are body, mind, and spirit. And I think the most profound therapy is where we are able to address those three aspects. And all three aspects are very, very important. And my understanding, seeing many, many clients, is very often in today's society, we are living very cognitively in our head, overwhelmed with our thoughts, with worries in the mind. We have this saying, oh, this person living so much in their mind, they are so disconnected from the body. And it's just a saying, but what it really means that over the times, due to some traumatic events or either developmental trauma from the childhood first 7 years or shock trauma that can happen from the accidents in our life or some intense experiences, we are disassociating from our physical body because it is so difficult to feel actually. So this is defense mechanism from preventing us from feeling pain, from feeling fear, sadness, anger. And to prevent from it, we're going into our head, into the mind, really overstimulated into the upper part of the body. But what really happens that trauma lives in the body, in the present moment. It has nothing to do with the past. We tend to think that the past is where trauma lives. Actually, it's not true. If we are far away from that times where we encounter traumatic or too intense experiences, but we still are often overwhelmed by the present moment. We are encountering those impulses from environment, and it fires up our adrenalines or all other chemicals that keep us into state of anxiety. So the fight or flight is activated from dorsal vagal complex, from parasympathetic nervous system. And so we are cut off from really sensing what part of our body we can bring sensations, which part of our body we are disassociated. And the journey that I like to think of in terms of healing trauma is moving from the head into the heart. The other words, moving from the head into the felt sense, into the interoception, into the feeling what's present in our body. What it does that we start bringing awareness into our breath. We start bringing awareness to those subtle sensations that explain our feelings, because every sensations is translated into some feelings. But because those feelings in the past were too intense, we were not able to express them. We were not able to complete that fight or flight from the past to give us healthy way to complete and engage with the world. Then we are disassociating from that physical body. And then we move on, pushing ourselves sometimes to injure our body because we're not even feeling what's present. And so I like to bring that understanding with my clients that we it is okay to express cognitively what you think, what you feel, but most important is how we can bring all the experience into here and now, into the breath, into the body. And I am not myself a psychotherapist, so I don't do psychotherapy with people, but I really find a big value into a kinesthetic, body-oriented therapy where we can trust the body, feel, and express what emerged from being present with the body. And when we align the body and the mind, we are starting to connect with our spirit, with our soul, because our soul is always enlightened. Our soul is laughing from above saying, aha, you are playing all these games again, ha, 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 ha. So, but when we connect with ourselves, when we live with our purpose, aligned with the center, aligned with the life force, then we have this connection with the source and with the full alignment. And then happiness comes. My favorite subject, breathwork. Breathwork changed my life a lot since I practice for now 12 years. Breathwork has many different dimensions. First of all, physiologically, breath is energy. We breathe into our lungs. Physiologically, alveoli, small air sacs in our lungs, take in the oxygen and redistribute into the bloodstream that goes into every cell in our body. Cells expel CO2 and other waste product, lactic acid, outside into the environment. So physiologically, it's kind of detoxifier, energizer. It's a major... It's life itself, exactly. But what's fascinating about the breath work also, that it has potential in trauma-informed approach. Why? Because what we are doing in the practice, we are using breath as a tool to really charge our system with energy. So we are breathing quite rapidly and we are connecting with actually fight or flight, from the sympathetic fight or flight that helps us activation. And because body is a container, physical body can contain certain amount of energy, and then it has to start expressing through the sound, through the movement, through emotional expression in whatever way. And then we are finding in the body, before going into the session, we're finding in the body resources, we're finding in the body places where we can express from the conscious awareness state, and we are able then to complete that unfinished emotions that were stuck or froze in our body from that past experience. Yes or no, where we couldn't run away because the threat was too much, was too intense, and we froze. Now, when we freeze, what's happening with our body, all this stuck energy goes and freezes into the physical body, into fascia, into the tissue. And over time, it creates a situation when we might collapse in our shoulders, closing our chest, or people build that armoring in different places. It's so individual. For some of us, it could be diaphragm, solar plexus, belly, pelvis, shoulders, face, whatever place it is. So the key here for breath work is how we can express from that mindful place, using also pendulation. It's another concept from trauma healing, where we pendulate between place of charge, place of resource, allowing person to be really present. So it's not cathartic approach. It's not pushing our system to push and cathart. It's more like how we can be with it and actually acknowledge those feelings in the present moment. And that is tremendously transformative. And I love you use the word somatization because it's a core of that work, actually. Yes, I think it's all base of the work I do, and I'm happy to prepare a program, and this will be breath program, which will have 2 stages. First stage we will release soon. It's going to be called Foundational Program, and then we will go farther with the next level of the training. In the first level, I would like to just bring the community for Spirit Mountain to start bringing understanding of how different type of breath can influence our nervous system, regulate ourselves. Because throughout the day, we are going through different stages. Sometimes we need to energize ourselves. Sometimes we need to go into that somatic rest and calm our system. And for each one of us, we have different experiences, we have different journeys, and there is no one type of breath that I can say is good for everybody. But there is 5 major type of breath that if we learn, if we practice, we can tremendously improve our life and we can teach others. So in this foundational module, I would like to present 5 different types of breath that will impact our sympathetic or parasympathetic nervous system, which brings us closer to our body and influence that somatizations of ourselves. So we can bring more awareness to what we feel and allow ourselves to be present, not being in the state of dissociation.
Yeah.
I love what you said about science, and in a way, yes, in breath work that I am teaching, there is a lot of approaches scientific coming from Peter Levine, for example, concepts of pendulation, concepts of titration, of resourcing, concepts of polyvagal theory that really is influencing about our social engagement. This is relatively new concept from 70s, brought by Stephen Porges, the doctor from California University in San Diego, where discovered that in addition to the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, there is also ventral vagal nerve from brainstem going through our neck, 11th nerve, and actually connecting all our major organs there and govern all our major organs. So if we connect with this ventral vagal complex, which is part of vagus nerve, we can come out of either being overstimulated or disassociated and start finding ways in a very scientific way to reorient ourselves. And sometimes it can be as simple as shifting our breath and for a moment take a rest, close our eyes, and start paying attention to breath, how the breath comes in and out through our nose, what is the breath temperature, what is the breath moisture, or simply reorient ourselves, looking around our space with kind of curious eyes and just see the objects as if we are seeing them for the first time. So there's many different tools that helps us that reorienting and feeling safe in our environment. Because the point with trauma is that when we are traumatized, we go through life feeling afraid or about the situations or about environment where we are completely safe with. If we look into our fears, 99% of our fears are illogical, are imaginary. But that fear comes from, because we're not experiencing life then from what actually is happening. We're experiencing life from the state of our nervous system. So if we start regulating ourselves and using those tools, we start feeling safe in here and now. That there's no danger. There's not any more tiger or lion that eats us. There's not any more abusive environment. Somebody wants to hit us or do something wrong or scream on us. We are safe, but we project that because our nervous system is not regulated. Yes. That filtering is tremendously present. I see it. And sometimes two people having the same experience can translate it into joy or fear and pain. And this is so depending on our past. And the key is how we can complete that past and live in present moment and be able to notice those projections and be able to respond to them in a more loving and compassionate present way instead of reacting to them from that scared, disassociated place, which is often a place of wounded child, wounded past, and we just either hurt ourselves with self-doubt, self-worries, self-criticism, or we hurt others, shouting at them, being passive-aggressive or aggressive, and so many other things that we just react to the situation when the key is really take a step, feel those emotions, bring them into the body, and respond. And always having that inner questions, how do I want to respond to that situation from a healthy state? What kind of relationship I want to build with people? Is those relationship are based on fear and anger, or I can choose, do I want to relate from love, compassion, and presence? And it's always a choice that we have. And if we regulate ourselves with those methods, we are able to create more peaceful and loving and more happy state for ourselves and our environment. Yes, it's a big topic. I think it's a topic for a seminar, as you know. But that's so much true. I think big part of it, because being in that wounded child is being in the state of victim, and it's very comfortable to be in the state of victim because we don't take responsibility for ourselves, and it's comfortable and it's safe in a way. So we create even sometimes self-wounding because we feel if we are wounded, somebody else will take care of us, somebody else will give us love. And stepping out into the adult in a way is dangerous because then we become responsible for our thoughts, feelings, words, emotions, and there's nobody else in this world that we can say this is your fault, because we are adult and we are responsible for ourselves. And that's scary. That's scary for many people, because then we don't rely anymore on anybody else's love, on anybody else's care, but we have to generate that self-love, self-compassion, and be with ourselves in a way completely alone. That's why I think the work needs to be done gradually. That a concept of victimhood is engraved from very early childhood, through religion, through government, through parenting, and this is in a way our ego formed. And I feel that before we drop a certain defense mechanism, and understanding this defense mechanism, we have to learn healthy pattern and slowly, gradually be able to shift to what's not serving us into the old patterns that are bringing us into the victimhood. And we need that gradual to really slowly, patiently, lovingly learn new ways, and at some point say, I am already fed up. This is it. I am not any longer willing to give up my freedom, my power, my love for that victimhood, for that wounded child, to be liked, to be approved, to be fitting into the society in a way that society wants. Being in a way, rebel in a way that's the journey of rebel, because we're standing out of the crowd and saying, I am empowered. And it's not the rebel that now wants to just destroy everything and be like against of all the society. Is the rebel that says, I am here to love, and I'm here to serve, and this is my individual path, and I see also your suffering, but I don't want to be part of it. And that's where awareness comes in place, because also, we might step out of the victim, but then being around people who might be in the place of victimhood, we can play another role, which is the role of saver. Yes. And that's another unhealthy ourselves to save the others. So now it's a very sensitive area where we can be with others from that empowered place, without saying no, but from that loving space. And saying no from love, and saying no from that space, that wounded, scared place, it's so different. And this is an art that we have to learn on the journey of empowerment, how we can say no, because we want to protect our boundaries. We have to know our boundaries and say that no from that present space, without being afraid that others will trespass the boundaries, but being aware of where am I in life, and how do I want to relate with others, not to play this game, victim saver, persecutor is another one. This is like a golden triangle: victim, saver, and persecutor. Yeah. Persecutor is the one that hurts others from that angry, revengeful space, and come out of that unhealthy triangle, and that's where empowerment is happening. Yes, I agree totally. After the foundation, we will go into experiencing the breath and as a tool to allow us to bring that awareness of somatization that we were talking about and expressing our feelings, being aware to complete the fight or flight, or bring the awareness of the social engagement, so we can consciously be able to regulate our nervous system. First of all, observe when we are in the state of dysregulation and bring the tools. I will teach you tools that you can bring awareness to how you want to respond to the environment, and from which space, by bringing awareness of your breath, of your body sensations, of the interoception, and the movement. Also, part of it will be movement, because I noticed that through the movement, breath, and also self-body work, self-touch, we can open some areas of our body which are frozen, disassociated, and bring them to full mobility, where the energy can start flowing throughout the whole system without being interrupted in some places that has been frozen and stuck up. So in addition to the foundational program and the breath training, I will also be available for one-on-one session, or maybe a group session. We can discuss about the program. We can have Q&A sessions, or we can have some guided meditations together, and eventually also a one-on-one session with me where participants can go deeper into somatic experiencing, into breath work, into the movement, and hopefully step out of that golden triangle that we talk about, go into full empowerment and live their life, find their passion, and find their purpose into this planet, and share with others what's their true gifts, which in a way is, I think, love, compassion, joy, and happiness. If we connect with those qualities, we are the biggest gift to this planet. If we walk in those qualities, we are contaging our environment with those qualities, and we're helping others by our presence to come out of depression, sadness, fear, and all other qualities, showing what's possible. Yes, I love this quote. Know yourself, heal yourself, and it's so much true. The first step, the foundation, and that's why we're going on the self-growth journey to know ourselves. And by knowing ourselves, we can step out of those patterns that are not serving us anymore, and create the patterns that in life we want to live. And it can be paradise or it can be hell, and it's always up to us what we want to choose. And I'm grateful for being a part of Spirit Mountain. I think it's an amazing platform that grows and will grow and gives so much important qualities, especially now for the world.